Father George Salz from the Harvard Catholic Center. Here we are at St. Paul's in Cambridge. There's a story I'd like to share with you. Some years ago, there was a superb Monet exhibit at the Art Institute in Chicago. It was the biggest collection of his paintings since the man's death. And so I headed out there, and I sort of got in touch with folks I know in the seminary, people who left the seminary, and I went and saw them, stayed over with them, met their wives and families and stuff. And it was very great. It was delightful to see them again. And I found myself out in Ann Arbor. There was a class fellow who had been in the Navy. He taught at Annapolis, and then he was now teaching at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And so I got chatting with him and his wife. And his wife had been, I'd seen her at the wedding at Annapolis. She had been received into the Catholic Church. She was Protestant, she'd been received in. But I wasn't asking her questions. She was volunteering these things on her own. And so one of the things she said was, since she got to Ann Arbor, which apparently had been where the Catholic charismatic movement in part had begun in this country, they were insisting, there were certain people, not they, but some people, were insisting with her that she wasn't fully Catholic unless she was charismatic. And she never heard of such a thing. She figured where she was received, and they told her all the ways to being Catholic that are required. And they said, oh no, you're not really Catholic unless you're charismatic. And so she had the wit to call the priest who received her in, back at Annapolis, at the Catholic parish in Annapolis, happened to be an Opus Dei priest who gave the advice you would hope any priest would have the wisdom to give. And he said, they're simply trying to share with you things that work for them and the best they know, but they have no right to require you to do this or that. That's not required to be a Catholic Christian at all. So different people find different spiritualities helpful, but that doesn't mean it's normative for you, even if it's helpful to them. And it was superb advice. She went on to say how she loved the Catholic Church. The way she finally chose it was she went to different Protestant churches, and she found, to her mind, again, I wasn't answering her question, volunteering all this in conversation, that they seemed to be in a particular century, on a particular issue, in a particular country. And she found that the Catholic Church was much wider than that and had things from all sorts of countries and all sorts of centuries and all sorts of spiritualities all together at the same time on offer. And so I think that's an important thing for us to remember. Sometimes people get interested in something very eccentric, and then they sort of become divisive, and then something even more eccentric excites them more. And one of the things we have to do is work not for the centrifugal, but the centripetal, and to sort of maintain the unity of the Catholic Church amid all its variety. So unity amid that diversity. The same thing comes up today and yesterday in the Acts of the Apostles, the readings we've had at Daily Mass. And there, Paul and Barnabas are going out, reaching out to the Gentiles, and the Judaizers are coming by and saying, unless you're circumcised, you can't be saved. And as in cases like this of surgery, people say, well, I think I'd like a second opinion. And so Paul and Barnabas themselves, instead of making the decision on their own, they go back to the church in Jerusalem, thinking with the church, working toward unity, and they put the matter before the apostles, who decided in the famous Council of Jerusalem will come up in Acts 15. And so I leave that to you. But the fact is that one really has to help work to maintain the church's unity. When we do that, we have that great diversity of people from every place and every temperament and style. And it's captured very well in James Joyce's famed acronym, HCE, Here Comes Everybody. Here comes everybody. Catholicism in its best moments is that. We have exactly that coming up here at St. Paul's, here in Harvard Square, because we have a commencement on Thursday for the class of 22, and then we have a double commencement on Sunday for the classes of 20 and 21. And we want to welcome you. Just because people have asked preemptively, trying to think about how they're going to schedule things with masses on Ascension Thursday and on Sunday, just want to tell you there's an extra mass later on the night before, a vigil mass on Wednesday at 7 p.m. here, and then on the Sunday at 4 p.m. later on graduation day when people are free. So Nico will kindly put those up, and also where our celebrations are. I'm grateful to Nico for all his kindness and all these things. Take care, may God bless you, and God be with you all your years.